Let's see, I'm going to put this in gallery view. All right, so we have quite an attendance, which really makes us so happy. Thank you everyone for coming and joining us for our Y Lower L meeting. Miss Stephanie will be co-hosting with us. She will be our timekeeper. Miss Stephanie is one of the teachers of the Banyan Room. So we just wanted to, first of all, again, thank you for coming tonight for our Y Lower Elementary meeting, and let you know that we will try to be done. Our teachers will rush through and get as much information to you with enough time for questions at the end. So, you know, Zoom is a little bit different than our normal parent at night. So what we'd like to do, if you can look on the bottom of your screen, if you just wiggle your mouse a little bit, you'll see the chat button. If you have a question as we go along, please feel free to put your question in the chat, and we will, at the end of speaking, we will answer those questions as they come up. Also, what we'll do is we're sending you all an email with a copy of tonight's video and a couple of other videos, one also being a podcast from Miss Bubbly with my email address. So if there's anything here that you wanted to hear more about or a question that you didn't get answered, feel free to email me and I'd be happy to hold a personal Zoom tour with either you or a small group of parents. So without further ado, Miss Stephanie, do you want to introduce?
Okay, I will. Yes, good evening, everyone. So if I keep in like this, my lights go off. So that's, it's not going back on. Anyway, we'll ignore. I teach in the Banyan Room. I teach with Miss Soni. We co-teach together. In our elementary program, we have 4 classes, 3 at school, Banyan, Magnolia, Mangrove, and then we have 1 virtual class, Gardenia, this year. So each teacher will speak about 1 area of the curriculum. You get to see everyone and see their faces. Basically, summing up, I asked everyone how long they've been here. Mila is our new teacher this year, but everyone else has been here 10 plus years. Some of us are even on the 15 plus years. We won't name who, but there's enough of us. So we've been here a long time. Everyone will speak. And if you hear this little, just showing you, ding, that means they've got to finish up because we're moving on, because we're going to try and keep this running smoothly. So that being said, we are going to go to our first speaker, who will be Miss Joanna, is a teacher plus a parent at our school. So Miss Joanna. You unmute.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Okay, so I'm Miss Joanna. I'm working alongside Miss Lynn this year in the Mangrove Room. I've been at Turtle River since 2011, and I have 2 sons who both started here when they were 2, and my oldest now is in 3rd grade. So it's given me the opportunity to see firsthand that transition from primary into the lower elementary program, with my older son going through the entire program. Having worked in primary and joining the elementary team has given me a great perspective to the transition, both as a parent and as a teacher, as a member for both teams. What I've seen with the children coming from kindergarten into the lower elementary program is it's more of a bridge rather than a jump. We continue to foster the independence along with the individualized learning that is carefully, paced based on what the students need, which is what Montessori is all about. There's a distinctive shift in lower elementary from learning how to be part of the community to discovering their roles in the community and their responsibilities to keep the community intact. This leads eventually to answering the questions of why am I here and what is my place in the universe more deeply. So I've been able to see firsthand with my older son how to become a confident, enthusiastic, self-directed learner. The other thing is within the classroom, we follow kind of like a family. Everybody has their own jobs, their daily jobs. They have their own daily work plans. We have class meetings, which are led by the 3rd graders. So they're learning responsibility and accountability. And then of course, there's the wonderful academics. The morning cycle tends to be longer, and the lessons are presented with either more independent follow-up work, or if needed, a more partner collaborative work. But I'll leave the academics to be discussed more in depth by the other teachers. So I've seen at this age, reason and imagination really comes alive, and lower elementary really gives the child the opportunity to learn how to think and find the answers to the questions they're looking for and that they want to know. I've also find that the older you get, the more opinions you tend to have, and not everybody will have the same opinion as you. So you're learning how to express yourself and stand your ground, but at the same time, respecting others' opinions. They are learning to stand their ground in what they believe, but at the same time, listening to what their peers have to say. You see them learning to resolve conflicts peacefully and with love and kindness. And so these are all soft skills that kind of go way beyond the classroom. And I've seen all in all, especially with my son, that they're able to think critically, work collaboratively, and act boldly, which I think is an amazing skill set to have, especially in this day and age. And like I mentioned, it goes beyond the classroom, and I've seen it at home. So to go kind of more in detail to the daily work plans and the flow of the day and the specials is Miss Mila. So.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mila, and I'm new to Turtle River this year. I've been an intern and an assistant teacher to Miss Christina. I'll be talking about our flow of the day, about our specials and the field trips. So first thing after the arrival, that's let's say between 8:05 and 8:30 in the morning, students come in. They can choose quiet assignments like coloring their mandalas or reading a book before we start morning circle. So during morning circle, each student has a morning job, such as news or a calendar, or they can be a meteorologist. So after that, we finish the morning circle with morning movement. It is usually outside. It can be, they play charades or follow the leader, morning walk or jog. When they come in, we have morning cycle. So that starts at around 9. And during that time, they do their lessons. They can pick their own lessons from their work plans. It's either math or language, usually. And during that time, they can also have a 5-minute snack. After that, around 11, we have reading groups according to their knowledge or their grade. 11:30 is time for recess. Usually it's outside, but in case if it's raining, we have also other options for the indoor recess, like they can play games or we can dance. After that, at noon, it's lunch, 30 minutes for lunch. 12:30, it's Deer's time. Deer's time stands for drop everything and read in silence. That's time approximately 15 minutes. So each child can pick their own book from our own library here in the classroom and they can read it in silence individually. After that, we have cultural lesson with them and writing. So that all lasts till 2 o'clock when they have their specials. So they have specials each day spread out through the week. So it's from 2 to 2:45. And then specials can be STEM or media, that is library. It can be music. It can be, what did I miss? Technology, yes. So, but on Fridays, they have the whole afternoon is are their specials. They have 3 specials in a row. Usually it's art, PE, and Spanish language with yoga. Yes, also I have to mention on Fridays mornings, we have gardening too. When it comes to field trips in normal circumstances, they would have them at least once a month, but since the COVID situation came, it's not doable. So, and the field trips are usually actually always connected to related to our curriculum. So for example, if we are working on space, that would be like going to planetarium, or if we are doing animals, that would be Bush's Life. And now Miss Lisa is gonna be talking about the overview of social emotional learning.
Hi, everyone, again. My name is Lisa Cuomo. I'm the executive director, and my office is here at the West Campus. I know some of you very well, and I'm looking forward to meeting those who I don't know quite as well. And so I have the honor to speak about our social emotional development in lower elementary. It's something I'm super passionate about. I came to Turtle River about 10 years ago, 11 as a parent, and I came to Turtle River Montessori for that specific reason that I truly believe that a child cannot learn if they're not in an environment where they're loved, nurtured, and respected. And I was so pleased to find Montessori in Turtle River because it was a marriage. So some things you'll hear me say, you might hear other teachers reference, and that's because social emotional development is webbed throughout the entire Montessori curriculum. You'll hear things often about Dr. Montessori's planes of development. And so the lower L 6 to 9 is the second plane of development. And so that means that your children will be moving from, you know, working alone at times to a big, big push to work with their peers. If that hasn't happened already, get ready. It's all about the friends. They also go through a big moral development where they're really concerned with right and wrong, what's fair, what's not fair. I'm sure you've heard it. Our teachers are nodding, that's not fair. You know, so that's totally age appropriate. This is what they're trying to figure out. And they're figuring that out also by learning about the world around them. Ms. Lynn will go into the cosmic education, but what that entails is 5 big questions that they need answered because that's how they're learning about the world that they're in. Within those great lessons, within Montessori, they learn a beautiful interdependence and interconnection of all things in their lives, whether that's things on the earth and the animals and humans and all into their classroom. You know, these sound like really big picture things, but they are. And Dr. Montessori designed a beautiful program to web this within their day in school. Those of you who are at the East Campus, I know you've all heard about conscious discipline. Conscious discipline marries Montessori beautifully. And conscious discipline is used in a daily basis in our classrooms. All of our teachers have learned conscious discipline, been trained. It may look and sound a little different in each classroom because it just depends on the teacher's personality, but collectively they model the respect and the nurturance that we would like to see our children act and treat each other like. So this is great because they're also developing their moral code right now. And so we use every opportunity for them to learn how to be great citizens of the world and within their classrooms. So one thing your child may come home and talk a lot about is their weekly job. Every classroom has a job chart and it cycles through the week. So one week your child can do something like sharpening pencils, that's his or her job for the week, to something more glamorous like zoologist. Most classrooms have a live pet and they get to take care of it, and that's one of the more popular jobs. And that's part of conscious discipline, but also Dr. Montessori, because all people, but especially children, they want to feel needed, they want to feel as if they're part of something, and they want to feel like they're adding some kind of value. And so it's really important. It goes beyond, you know, the chores and the jobs to you matter, and you matter big time. And who doesn't want to feel that way? So one of the other things that's so important in Montessori is their independence. And when they start really young, like in toddlers and primary, you know, they want to do it all. And that can be something little like tying their shoe or making their own snack. But now that independence is a lot bigger. Academic independence, that's a big shift. So they'll be getting a work plan that has their works for the weeks, the days of the week, what their lessons they're responsible for. When they do it is a lot up to them. And that's important that we give them that chance to learn how to balance their work time. Many times they may overestimate or underestimate how long a lesson may take. And so that's the beauty of checkout time. The teacher will look at their work plan and say, oh, what did you get done today? And not a lot, some days may get done, and you may see an arrow when you get home your child's work plan, and great conversations come from that. You know, what happened today? Do we do a lot of talking for whatever reason? We won't let your children fail miserably, but it is important for them to see that if they don't manage their time, they're going to fall behind. Or if they type up too much and they can chew, it can be overwhelming. So the teachers are checking in, dealing with your children. And this is, Ms. Joanna referenced soft skills. This is an example of how they are developing soft skills. We hear a lot about soft skills every day, and that can be things like leadership, teamwork, communication, problem solving, interpersonal skills. They're the huge, huge things, but we are giving your children bite-sized pieces of that at their age-appropriate level. I can talk on and on, so Ms. Stephanie, please find me if I'm going over. But as a parent, my child just left the middle school program. One thing I personally appreciated was she had some learning differences and she had a lot of challenges. In lower elementary, throughout her 3 years, she had the time and the opportunity to learn how she learned, and that it was okay that she learned differently, because we all have strengths and we all have challenges. And it's important to understand that about ourselves and be okay with it. So we've done things like habits of mind. We've done things like talk about good work ethic, growth mindset, even at this young age. And I remember one time, this is a funny story, I'll tell you what that looks like as a parent, that, you know, I'm at work and I have things together at work, but I get home and I'm a mom. And I remember saying to her, you know, how many times do I have to tell you this? And she turned to me and she was not being sarcastic, I promise. She said, well, Mom, I learned that I'm an auditory learner, so you'll probably have to tell me a few times. And I just had to stop at that moment. And I was so proud of what is happening in her life, because that's what we want for our children, right? We want them to be able to understand themselves and to be able to advocate for each other, for themselves rather. And so to kind of wrap it up, you'll see throughout the evening how their social emotional needs are met, and beautifully from the program and from our teachers. But a huge component to that is the interaction between each other. What happens when there's a disagreement? What happens when there's hurt feelings? How does a child say to another child, you know, I did not like that? That's very difficult for adults to do. So the teachers teach them things like iMessages, where they just say, I didn't like it when you said that, or I said this because of that. Oh, okay, I'm wrapping it up. So I hope you get a really great overview, but I just want you to understand that the same nurturance and the same community and the same family that your children have had up until now will continue and even grow in lower elementary. So sorry I went over.
You good?
Okay, hello, I'm Miss Lynn from the Mangrove Room. This is my 17th year teaching at Turtle River Montessori. I'll be telling you about cosmic education in the lower elementary. Cosmic education is really the original integrated curriculum and the foundation of all the lower elementary lessons. They are the framework for all scientific and cultural studies that we do. In the 1940s, Maria Montessori and her son, Mario, spent a lot of time in India and were greatly influenced by the different religions of the children they worked with there. The Eastern style of the religions there were rooted in spiritual unity and harmony of the universe, which greatly affected the curriculum that they wrote. It's Maria's vision of presenting cultural subjects first through stories, great stories that grab the imagination, and then through detailed follow-up lessons. She wanted the children to learn that peace, true peace, is not the absence of war, but achieved through an understanding that all human beings on Earth have a common origin in the universe. She believed that if all children had this increased awareness of their place in the world, a new human being would emerge that would promote unity between the human race and all living creatures, as well as within the universe. This would be the cosmic task of humanity. In Montessori schools, children are taught to see themselves as citizens of the world, a species within a family of living things on Earth and descendants of the universe. The elementary curriculum is based on 3 questions which relate to the past, the present, and the future. Not questions that are openly discussed, but sort of pondered on an individual basis and inspired through the lessons. The first would be, who am I? The child's search for an identity as a member of the human species and as an individual. Where do I come from? Related to the ancestry and historic memory and the common origin of all people in the universe. Why am I here? The life goal or contribution to the universe are known as the cosmic task. People from the earliest times have pondered these questions. It's what separates us from all other life forms on Earth. So these lessons are broken into the 5 great stories. They're told in the beginning of the school year every year, demonstrating the interconnectedness of all life on Earth. So the stories are presented each year, and students look forward to hearing them again. And as they progress through the classroom environment, as older friends, they are often invited to help with the telling of the stories and participate in it. So the first of the great stories is the story of the universe. And we begin by learning about creation myths and stories from around the world. We discuss the similarities, the differences between them, and it culminates with the story that scientists tell of the Big Bang. And that's the story we spend the most time on. It is told in a dramatic fashion. The children are brought to a classroom that has been completely darkened with special blackout blinds. There's no sound. They're seated in the dark. And then the first thing they hear is the voice of the narrator saying, imagine a time before anything existed, when it was darker than dark, colder than cold. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. So they're sitting in the dark imagining this. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and then someone jumps up and pops a balloon with sparkly confetti everywhere. And that starts the story of how the Big Bang happened. This presentation takes about 45 minutes and has different demonstrations about states of matter and density, and all these different things we present to the children, and sparks a study of astronomy, physics, and chemistry, with many weeks of follow-up experiments in the classroom. The second story is the coming of life, and tells about life on Earth from the first microscopic cells in the ocean all the way up to modern day humans. When we tell this great story, we start with photographs and pictures of cells, real fossils, and then all of our classroom pets make dramatic appearances in the story, as well as plants from around the school. And you wouldn't believe how thrilling it is for them to see a fern from the playground show up in this lesson. So this leads to studies of geology, geography, and biology. The third story is the coming of humans, and how humans are different from all the other creatures on Earth. We have the gift of mind, hand, and love. We use our minds to think and wonder about the environment. We use our hands to grow food and make clothes and construct homes. And we have the ability to love others, not just our own family, but people we've never met, which is compassion. We have students act out different scenarios without speaking to make this, oops, 1,000 pardons. The next lesson after the story of humans is the story of language, and how humans evolved to need language to communicate, and the students act out things of not having language, and how would you communicate to your group of people that you'd seen something in a hunt, and it evolves all the way up to spoken language, and how did we come to be writing things and writing history down, and letters, and how all these things evolved around the world at different times. And then the last story we tell is the story of numbers, explaining how people met their need to count things by creating marks, which evolved into numbers over time. All of these lessons have many follow-up lessons in the classroom, and we write about them and discuss them in great detail. And this, well, I'll pass on to Ms. Christina now, who will tell you just exactly how we take this cosmic curriculum and break it down into a more of a modern day lessons in the classroom on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn. I'm Miss Christina. I have been at Turtle River for 13 years. I'm in the Magnolia Room. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our modern approach to the integrated curriculum. And the modern approach takes all of the very best things from Maria Montessori's original cosmic curriculum and puts, you know, science-based research behind it for the way our modern brains work and think. So an integrated curriculum is exactly what it sounds like. It takes all parts of the curriculum and we put it all together, and everything we do revolves around whatever our cultural topic is for the week, for the unit. So our school year is broken up into 3 distinct thematic units throughout the year. So we really are able to go in depth. So we start with, and they all go in line with the great lessons, as Miss Lynn talked about. So the first unit of study is the origins of the universe, and that takes us into space and that kind of thing. The second unit of study, which we are in right now, is about Earth, the study of Earth, the study of the continents. And then our third unit of study is about humans and the human experience. And we start with early humans and early civilizations there. So with the integrated studies, we are integrating everything. We have our reading and our writing, our cultural lessons, our read alouds, and after we culminate each unit of study, we have a project. So we call it a demonstration of knowledge. So it takes months and months of learning, and we put it together in one final project that we present. We present to our classmates, we present to our parents. We do this very publicly. The children are very proud to present their demonstration of knowledge. And we also have a writing project. So this is something that we work on as we're building writing skills throughout this unit of study. Currently, right now, we'll be working on opinion writing for this particular unit. So we're building the skills throughout the unit, and then we present it in a final edited, published project. So some past examples of some projects that we've done: the children have done TED Talks, they've done podcasts, they've researched about different continents, and they've presented all about the different biomes and animals and people of the continent that they were studying in different countries. Last year, they wrote fables, original fables from different countries in South America. So they're very, very proud of these projects. There's a lot of work that goes into them, and it's a wonderful, wonderful way to take the culmination of all of that knowledge. So I just wanted to go through, for example, what that looks like. So right now, as I mentioned, we're in Unit 2. So it's really the study of the Earth, continents, geography. We're looking at biomes, habitats, these sorts of things. So we always start with a big question, and the big questions also relate to the cosmic questions that Ms. Lynn spoke about. So our big question in Unit 2, for example, is what is home? And so we're going to go about this in, a lot of different places. So of course, children will naturally start to describe the home that they live in, but we really want them to think bigger. We want higher level thinking. So we're going to learn, as we're learning all about habitats and geography, we're going to learn about how it affects, how does climate affect the plants and animals where one lives? How does one's geography, how does this affect human culture and the development of culture? So we explore all of these things throughout the unit. So as we move along, we're also asking essential questions. And these questions come up in group discussions, reading groups, writing prompts, things. So, how does culture affect who I am? How does my environment affect who I am? How do I fit in? What's my place in the world? So this goes back to my cosmic task, but it's something they're relating to. Change is something that's inevitable, whether it's in our environment or in our lives. Is this a positive or negative force? So these are the types of questions that we ponder and we discuss in all different realms of our discussions. And then at the end, our presentation of knowledge for this particular unit, our writing project, we'll be doing an opinion writing assignment. And after they've learned all about all of the different continents and the geography and the biomes, they're going to imagine if they could create a perfect place to live, what would it look like? And they're going to have to include all of those elements in a very scientifically correct way. Of course, writing this opinion piece, this fictional story. And then their final project, they're going to create a 3-dimensional model of that. So they'll be presenting that again to their classmates, to other classmates, and then hopefully in some format to parents. So the way integration works in reading groups, which Miss Christie will be talking a little bit more in depth about, but they have reading groups, so they have leveled readers based on their skills and where they are. We don't do grade level reading groups. It really is based on where they are. So you might have first graders with second graders with third graders. So we really always are aiming to meet the children where they are. These reading groups, if we're learning about clouds in a particular week, they'll be reading about clouds. All of the reading groups will. And that's going to be both fiction and nonfiction. Writer's workshop, also based on our thematic unit, group read alouds and discussions, cultural presentations, and then we do art integration. So I have a little slideshow I wanted to share with you, very short, just to show you a snapshot of a week. So as we are in Unit 2, we're learning about our natural environment around us. We spent a week learning about clouds and weather. So just a few pictures say 1,000 words. So let me just share my screen and I will show you what that looks like. Give me just a moment here. Okay. Okay, so this is just 1 week. So this is week 19, Unit 2, as you can see. Okay, so the first day begins with an introduction to our topic, whatever it is we're talking about. So this particular week, we're talking about clouds. This was just last week. So students are introduced usually to the topic, the new topic of the week, through generally it's a group read aloud that we do with the whole class. And then we give them some sort of a hands-on material to do. So you can see this is a very large layout of the clouds and where they sit in the atmosphere, the types of clouds. This is a material that is presented to the whole group at all levels, but they're able to take this out at their leisure and work with these materials again. They really, really enjoy these types of lessons. And then after we've done that, we want to give them some opportunities for real world exploration. So here they are, they took their notebooks outside and they're studying the clouds and they're taking diligent notes and they're making diagrams of where the clouds are in the sky, identifying the different types of clouds. So they're really applying what they've learned. Here we're doing a little science demonstration here, which they love to do. We always try to add as many hands-on science demonstrations as possible. So we're seeing how the clouds fill up with the precipitation until they get too full and the rain starts to fall. So they're having a great time. Art integration is an important part of it. They were making a beautiful, as you can see, these lovely art projects that are also scientifically correct. So they're placing the different types of clouds using cotton balls on these blue pieces of paper, placing them in the correct spot in the atmosphere. And then here's just an example of some of the reading group books that we have. So you can see we spent again with the reading groups, they have different readers based on their levels. There's a mixture here of nonfiction and fiction books. So all of the kids, no matter where they are, what level they're in, they're all learning about the same topic. And then we can come together, at their level in reading groups, and then we can come together as a whole group to have these discussions and we're all on the same page. And then finally, and I apologize, I don't have a picture here, but we're working on our various writing skills throughout the week and they'll be related to our cultural topic. So that is the end of my slideshow. So I am going to pass you along now to Miss Christie, and she's going to talk a little bit more about the science behind reading.
So my name is Christy Escoto, and I was trying to figure out how long I have been here, and I think we decided I started in 2007. So I have a 16-year-old son who was a part of the school until he's moved on now to high school. And my daughter went through the lower elementary program, and she is now a 5th grader in the upper elementary. And obviously we love it. Even just hearing about the Montessori philosophy and our cosmic curriculum, I just absolutely love it. I get chills, and I've been a teacher for 20+ years, and it's just very exciting to me. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about reading, our structured literature. So, and you might notice that I seem to be saying almost the same thing as Miss Christina and Miss Lynn, because we are very integrated in what we do. So our books for reading group are integrated in the cultural curriculum. And the most current research says that when you are learning in a cross-curricular fashion, in this integrated fashion, children are able to pick up more information. So imagine your brain is like Velcro, and the information we're giving you is like the little hooks. And so we introduced the clouds in the first lesson, and maybe the kids have never really heard about the types of clouds or the names, and so they really don't catch on to that much of it. It's a beautiful presentation. They're excited to lay it out. Well, then later that day, or maybe the next day in reading group, our readers are all about clouds. Well, now we've developed a few more Velcro hooks, and they have more information to grasp onto. And the more hooks you have, the more sticky your brain becomes, and you can learn more about these concepts, and they're learning vocabulary and all on the same subject. And the research is showing that this is the best way for kids to really retain this information. And as lower elementary teachers, we realize that not every student comes in at the same reading level, and that's totally expected and normal. In this past summer, I actually participated in this teacher reading program called Orton Gillingham, and I really just fell in love with it. And a colleague and I, Miss Sarah, we've decided to pursue a certification in Orton Gillingham, and it aligns with the Montessori philosophy beautifully. It really grasps on to like this science of reading, the most current research that's out there. It's science-based. And it taps into all types of learners, the kinesthetic, the auditory, the visual learner. And we know that at around 3rd grade, a child switches from learning how to read to reading to learn. And in that year, they make that switch. But until that time, they really need help with a structured, systematic approach to learning how to read. And this is really crucial until they are ready to make that leap. And at Turtle River, we have a very strong structured literacy program, and it incorporates decoding words, spelling, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. And understanding that all of this is required to become a proficient reader. And our program integrates all sorts of these reading abilities to make it a very strong program. So, and now I'm passing it along. And I don't know who I'm passing this on to.
Hey, it's Miss Caroline.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to introduce myself and let you know I've been at Turtle River for 6 years. And Miss Christie, who just spoke before me, the both of us, we spent numerous hours over the summer trying to enhance our virtual program this year. And everything that you've heard tonight, we're trying to incorporate as much of it as we can in our virtual classroom, the Gardenia room. One thing that we've changed that we think have enhanced it greatly is that we send home materials. Some of them you're going to see in my presentation. I'm going to be introducing the math materials, but you'll see us on Friday prepping materials to send home to families to not lose out on the hands-on learning that is so important to Montessori education. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch cameras and share my screen. So this presentation will provide just a brief overview of Montessori mathematics, and it will also help to explain and show the seamless transition from the primary program to our lower elementary program. So understanding the Montessori approach, the Montessori curriculum provides a strong foundation by allowing children to learn and explore math concepts using concrete material. This term is used to describe math materials which children are able to hold in their hands and manipulate. And they help to represent and symbolize different math concepts. At the primary level, children learn how to count and are taught how to form numbers using these various materials. The photographs featured on this slide show math lessons that your child may have worked on in their primary classroom. The top one shows the number rod lesson. This lesson includes a series of red and blue wooden rods that a child learns to arrange in a stair-like pattern. It provides a child exposure to this math concept before they're even able to count. In the bottom left-hand corner, this is the spindle box. So this lesson helps a child to learn how to count. In this lesson, a child places the correct number of wooden spindles in the labeled compartments. And as you can see from the photograph, it also includes that important concept of teaching a child zero. Over to the left, we have our sandpaper numbers. So this, they're able to use a hands-on material to touch and feel and learn and develop their ability to form those numbers, which are then moved on to with paper and pencil. So this is important to many of you, understanding how your child will transition from the primary to the lower elementary program. The lower elementary program provides a seamless transition from kindergarten to 1st grade. One reason for this is that students are taught new math concepts depending on their individual readiness. For example, some children may begin working on more complex math problems or math lessons like the stamp game in their primary classroom, while others are given the lesson once they reach lower elementary. So students are very excited when they join our classrooms to notice that they recognize many of the materials on the shelf. So here, featured in this photo is a very crucial math lesson known as the golden bead. And if you ask your child if they were in the primary classroom, they would absolutely know this lesson. So when students master the ability to build visual representations of numbers, then they're ready to start applying the operations. So golden bead is a great example of a math material that is used to teach all 4 operations. So they use it to learn addition, multiplication, subtraction, and division. As a child progresses through the lower elementary program, the lessons become more and more abstract. So here featured is the stamp game. This is a lesson that helps students to transition from the golden bead, which was featured earlier, to the more abstract understanding of the decimal system. So as you can see from this photo, the only differentiation is the color and number on the tiles. This is also a lesson that they're able to use for all 4 operations. The bead chain cabinet, I actually showed this slide to my students in the virtual classroom, and they got a kick out of seeing the bead cabinet there because it's such a quintessential Montessori math material that can be found in classrooms ranging from primary to lower and even found in upper elementary classrooms. And what I wanted to do here is outline how the materials transition into the different grade levels and throughout the primary and even all the way through the upper elementary program. So this bead cabinet is used in the primary classroom primarily to learn to count and beginning to skip count. In the lower elementary program, they'll use it to skip count because we have the transition there, but then they start to use it to help memorize their math facts of multiplication. Upper elementary, you'll see the bead cabinet there, and this program uses the bead cabinet to work on concepts like squaring and cubing numbers. So something very important I felt to highlight about the Montessori curriculum is its approach to memorizing math facts. So instead of using flashcards and things like that, they're all these beautiful lessons. So students are taught to use math materials which provide opportunities to practice math equations repetitively, and it naturally leads to the memorization of their math facts. So here on the left, we have the addition strip board, and on the right, they're learning using the division bead board. Just like in primary, the lower elementary is a 3-year cycle. So as a child progresses through the lower elementary program, they gradually introduce more complex math concepts. So here is the checkerboard multiplication, which is going to introduce multi-digit multiplication. There are other lessons used for long division. So the Montessori classroom provides unique materials for students to work on these concepts as well. And it is also a major highlight for the children when they reach this milestone and they're given the checkerboard lesson. So the presentation, this was just a brief overview of the Montessori mathematics program. The lower elementary program encompasses so much more. All the teachers at Turtle River see firsthand how learning through this approach provides a strong foundation and understanding of math. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we have Miss Soni next.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Miss Soni, teaching in the Banyan Room, and this is my 12th year here at Turtle River. I'm a Montessori mom, and my daughter graduated 8th grade here in 2014. She's currently studying computer science at UF. And her Montessori background is showing in the activities that she's involved in. Like she is peer counseling engineering students and also counseling the parents, the freshman parents. So tonight I'm very excited to present Science, a Montessori approach. So I'm going to do a screen share first. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so Science, a Montessori approach. For some reason, okay, hold on. Let me do it one more time. Screen share. Okay, what is science? Science, we know, is all around us. We are living in a living lab. We know that young children interact with the natural environment or the natural world everywhere they go. What would be a better environment than a Montessori classroom to introduce science? Maria Montessori believed that experience with the real object should always come before learning the names or looking at the pictures of the object. That's why she introduced these Montessori nomenclature cards. She also believed that abstract learning is very essential because it is important to learn the vocabulary and it enhances the knowledge of the subject. In this sensitive period, they should explore the environment with their senses. And we know that it said, I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. I do, I totally understand. So areas that we cover in science are botany, zoology, earth science, and health science. So in zoology, we study identifying and classifying animals, animal homes, adaptation, food chains, etc., etc. And in botany, they study needs of plants, plants' parts, transpiration, growing and caring for indoor, outdoor plants, and investigating how people use plants. And again, in third year, they do a little bit in-depth study. They study the entire plant kingdom, like what is vascular and what is non-vascular, what is monocot and what is dicot. In zoology, again, they study like the entire plant, animal kingdom. So from Monera to Protista to fungi to animal. So in health science, they study food pyramid, self-esteem. It is important. If they feel happy about themselves, they're gonna make others happy. Nutrition, system of human body, and more than this. Physical science. So physical science is study states of matter, elements versus compound versus mixture, solar systems, layer of the earth, volcanoes, weather, and clouds. And again, we give the whole world to them to wonder and to spark their curiosity for the love of learning. Children understand that they are part of this universal whole. And Maria Montessori believed that the walls of the classroom should be brought down. Again, when Ms. Christina was presenting her lesson, she said they're hands-on science experiments. So all these cultural lessons have hands-on projects and they see with their own eyes. They want to see if the things that it's said, it's verified by their experiments. So here in this experiment, this is the law of gravity where lighter objects stay on the surface and the heavier objects sink to the bottom. So you see these students are doing experiment with, like, they put paper clips, tennis ball, and golf ball, and they shook the bowl vigorously, and then they saw that the lighter objects stayed on the surface and all the heavier objects sank to the bottom. And also you see that they are recording their findings. In this experiment, they are seeing evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection. As you can see, you can actually see the water droplets forming on the Ziploc bag, and they see that when water vapor rise, they come down in form of rain after they have condensed. Again, in this experiment, we did clouds lesson. So in this cloud formation experiment, students observed that when clouds can no longer hold water droplets, the water droplets come down in the form of rainfall. And this other, as you see, she's outside recording all different types of clouds, nimbus clouds, cumulus clouds. And no, we hear from the students that, oh, this is the best lesson ever. And believe me, we hear and we give a new presentation and then they come running to us and oh, this is the best lesson. So this is just the aha moment of teachers. And we did a weather lesson here. As you can see, the kids are looking at the temperature, wind speed, direction of the wind, and they observed that the wind flows from west to east. The way this thing was moving, it verified that because of the rotation of the earth, the wind flows from west to east. And in gardening, we studied the functions of seeds, dissected and tasted papaya. And believe me, there were students who have never seen a papaya before. They didn't know it was fruits or it's a fruit or a vegetable. They did a Venn diagram. They compared and contrasted between fruits and vegetables. And they were happy. Some of the, I know Miss Joanna's own son, he's a picky eater, she said, and he was just nonstop. He wouldn't stop tasting pieces of papaya. And again, children see that everything has a cycle. Whatever come up goes back in the soil and then new growth starts. So here they are composting. They're learning the importance of composting. Again, here they are planting the papaya seeds and they made hypotheses like some said it's gonna take 3 days, some said 15 days, and some said like 3 months. And they all made, and we'll wait till the first cotyledon sprout up and then we'll record our findings. And in this picture, you see the kids ran, some of them ran and grabbed a pine tree and grabbed a palm tree in the garden. And they said, oh, this is a papaya tree. But then eventually they found, one boy knew, he ran straight, he knew where to find the papaya trees. And again, we studied the functions of flowers is to hold hold seeds. So these experiments are very cool. And again, we make sure that they have real experience with the objects. And I'm just sharing some pictures of a classroom. This was the first day when the students came, including our language, math, and cultural. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Soni. And we
Sure.
I apologize. We let people go over time, but it was so interesting.
No, we are done. That was the last slide.
Yes. No, but I'm saying in general, everyone kind of went over, but Ms. Lisi, you can give the the thing is, we went on a bit, but I couldn't stop people because it was interesting.
So we didn't have anyone post any questions, but we do have about 5 or 6 minutes. So I can use the raise hand feature. If anybody has a question that they would like to ask, if you want to just click raise your hand, and we can do that now. If there's something that you forgot to ask, as I mentioned, we will be sending out an email on Friday with the recording of this meeting to everyone in the East Campus, so they have a chance to hear if they weren't able to make it tonight, and then some great downloads. So I just wanted to thank our wonderful teachers. It's a beautiful place to work. I have to say I'm very, very fortunate, and our teachers, everything you hear them speak about is from the heart, and they are just such hard workers. And your children are in safe hands. So I'm going to check and see if anyone has any questions, any raised hands. I see a heart, that's always good. I wanted just to end with a really sweet picture. I'm going to try to share my screen. Miss Carol, am I able to share the screen?
Yes, you should be able to share.
Okay, great. So let's see. Yeah, there was a picture I wanted to show, and I'm having a hard time sharing that, but it would have been the perfect way to end it tonight.
Do you know how to share the screen, Miss Lee?
I do, but I lost the script, the picture. Let's see if I can pick it up. Give me one moment. Nope, it's not doing it. It was going to be a little guessing game, and that's what I get for trying to be clever. Okay, I think I can do it. Bear with me one moment. Miss Christie, you'll have to tell me if I'm doing it correct or not.
Okay.
All right. Is that it?
I can see a picture.
Okay, so does everybody see the picture?
Yes.
Okay, lots of stuff is going on here. Take a good look, and I'll describe to you what I saw. It was the beginning of the school year. Miss Christine is laughing. I was observing in her classroom, and we were having a conversation about more community in the classroom. And Miss Christina did a week-long drive on being helpful. And, you know, our teachers have a great relationship with me, but of course it's uncomfortable when someone's observing, and Miss Christine was in a great lesson. The class was perfect textbook. And one of our friends knocked over her pencil box, shavings. It was a wreck, as messy as you can imagine. And what I noticed more than the mess was the fact that Miss Christina and Miss Mila, they just looked up and they just calmly noticed, oh, we had an accident. Okay. Before they can finish the work, every child in that class rushed to clean up. They were so excited about this helpful week, and it was almost as if they could make a mess on purpose because they wanted to be helpful with each other. And it was, oh, excuse me, allow me, I got it. No big deal, we'll clean it up. I have to say, I don't remember much of the reading group that I was working with. I just remember that one picture, and I remember thinking, like, this is just magic. And I wish every parent can see this. So I'm thrilled to be able to share this tonight. And I can unshare the screen. Sorry, guys, how ugly this is. But
thank you, Miss Lisa.
Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to end on that note, and just thank everybody for coming. And again, if you have any questions, just please feel free to email me, and I will be emailing everyone tonight. Thank you for supporting our teachers.
Good night.
Have a good night.